everyone! Today I wanted to do a bit of a how-to of sorts, which is how to make the best decision for you as to what your first cosplay should be. Now you might think that this is a very simple question with a very obvious answer, which is just cosplay what you want to cosplay. That's all there is to it. And yes, by and large, that's, if you were to distill it down to a single sentence, that is what it is. Cosplay what you love. That should always be what you do. Just have fun, cosplay, do it. However, there are a few things to consider to make sure that your first cosplay experience is a fun and fulfilling one that really gives you excitement and joy for this excellent hobby, rather than potentially disheartening you or turning you off it. So I was going to run through some points that I think you should consider when you are choosing what to do for your first cosplay to ensure that you have the best possible experience. The first of the things that I think you should consider when you're deciding on your first cosplay is what brings you joy. And yes, I am aware that that is sort of, in a sense, the overarching point I just made already, because that is the most important thing. This is a hobby. Hobbies are meant to be fun. Therefore, have fun. Otherwise, why are you doing it? So if you first cosplay, I really strongly encourage you to cosplay something that you are passionate about. For reference, my very first cosplay was Rose Quartz from Steven Universe. It was 2018, I was super into Steven Universe at the time. I'm not anymore, and I wouldn't choose to cosplay her now, but at the time, that was a character and a fandom that I was really excited to be involved in. And I also encourage you, when you're thinking of what characters, what fandoms, what media you're excited about, to expand your horizons. Think of books, think of movies, think of video games that you played when you were 5. You don't have to just cosplay from anime. I mean, obviously, anime cosplay is a humongous part of the origins of cosplay and cosplay as a form now, but you really can cosplay anything. And remember that you can also cosplay non-canon things. There's so many amazing artists out there who do redesigns, like, you know, the witch version of this character, the magical girl version of this character, gender bent characters. These are all valid avenues for you. You don't just have to cosplay what anyone else is cosplaying. You really should pick something that you love. This point about doing something that gets you excited and revved up and is fun for you was also mentioned in a recent video by Svetlana of Kamui Cosplay, which I shall link up. This side, that side, I think it's that side. No, it's this side. Linked up there, I hope. That video was also a great one, and if you are looking to get into cosplay, watch that straight after this. Fabulous video, like 10 out of 10 recommend. Now, most of us people in the world have many things that we are into. Like, my list of cosplays that I want to do is like 50 things long, and that's only the things that I have written down. So like, going cosplay what's fun, cosplay a character that excites you, really doesn't narrow it down very much. And that brings me to point number 2. Have a think about what you feel comfortable in. And by comfort, I do mean both physical comfort and mental comfort. In case you didn't notice, I'm a plus size girl. I'm a pretty damn confident plus size girl, but my body does not always automatically look good in certain clothing. For example, I've never done a cosplay that fully exposes my midriff because I'm not comfortable with that. That would just make me feel awkward, regardless of whether it did actually look good or not, or all that aside, because I'm not saying that plus size girls can't rock exposed tummies. I mean, they can, and I know that I could if I really, tried. I'm sure I could do a really rockin' photo shoot, but I don't want to. It doesn't make me feel good in my body. Whereas on the other hand, you know, pretty much all of my Love Live cosplays, all the fluffy dresses and cute things, those make me feel so good and just so bouncy and happy. I also weirdly love wearing anything that's like a uniform. School uniforms just make me feel really happy. I just feel really cute. I don't know what it is, but those are things that you should be aware of. Obviously, what you feel comfortable in your body in is going to vary radically for everybody, but it's important to be aware of. So if you have things that you don't want to highlight, but whether it's because of how your body looks or because of how your mind feels about how your body looks, just don't do it. Simple as that. Just because everybody's doing blah blah cosplays doesn't mean you have to. It's like, remember that trend for everyone's doing like slave variations on characters? It's like, that ended up being me talking about the mental aspect of comfort, not the physical aspect. For the physical aspect, I mean things like if you have trouble walking in high heels, don't pick a design that has high heels or change out what the shoes are. If you don't like the feeling of elastic around your waist, maybe don't pick an idol cosplay where you will be wearing several petticoats, things like that. Just know what will go into the costume as best you can, because obviously it's your first cosplay, you're sort of making educated guesses on everything, but just consider what you actually like to wear, both in terms of how it feels on your body and how it makes you feel about your body. Thirdly, and pretty similar, is consider the reality of what you want the cosplay for. Are you doing your first cosplay because you and your friends are going out to a convention? Are you doing your first cosplay because a model you follow did a cosplay photo shoot and you want to do one too? Do you want to take TikToks in your bedroom? Do you want to be like a cosplay content creator? Are you just doing it for the heck of it? Like, figure out what reason you have for doing this cosplay. Because again, that will have some practical applications. If you're going to a convention, you're going to be on your feet, you're probably going to be carrying a bag, you're probably going to be out for, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever, and you should choose a costume that reflects that. It's like, yes, some kind of swimsuity thing with high heels or whatever would look amazing, but are you going to be comfortable? Are you going to last the day? You want to pick a cosplay that is appropriate for the occasion, or at least be aware of what the occasion is. And please don't take this point or anything I am saying as thinking one type of cosplay, one style, one genre, one, level of exposure or, high heels. I know I've mentioned that a few times. I'm not saying anything is better or worse. Again, we'll refer back to point one because these are all kind of roughly in importance order, I would say. Point one is have fun. Do whatever is fun. Deal with the blisters the day after, but just have fun. For me, if I'm physically uncomfortable, I'm not gonna have a good time. Like, I can put up with it, I could wear an uncomfortable cosplay for a photo shoot, love it, it'd be great, but I wouldn't wear that same cosplay to a convention. Not that I really like going to conventions anyway, but that's another point of comfort. Comfort. Wow, I'm so good at words today. That's another point of comfort. Don't let expectations or common behaviors around cosplay dictate what you do. Everyone's wearing anime cosplays and you want to wear a costume from a book? Go for it. Everyone's, the flavor of the month is everyone's doing Mario cosplays because there's a new Mario game out. And you don't want to do that? Who cares? Have fun. Do your thing. You'll probably connect with random fans anyway. But enough of that, and on to my final main point, which is think about whether you are going to make or buy your cosplay. Obviously, if you buy a cosplay, that's it. You buy it, you put it on, you are cosplaying. It is so fantastic that we have so many pretty darn decent quality options for buying cosplays. I also did a video a while ago about how to improve a store-bought cosplay. That's got some good tips in it because it does help to just enhance something out of the box. It makes it yours, gives you a feeling of satisfaction from making it yours, and will always make it look a little bit better. As for making your first cosplay, again, sense of satisfaction through the roof. It's kind of really cool to just wear something and go, I made this. And even if it ends out kind of crappy, you still go, I made this. I mean, again, harking back to my first ever cosplay, the Rose Quartz one, she looked okay. She was a hot mess. She was ruined after I wore her to a convention which had an outside area because I hadn't hemmed the chiffon of the hem properly. I just folded up and hemmed it. It was outdoors. By the end of the day, the ham was so full of twigs and leaves and ruin. She's gone. She's long, long gone. because I didn't consider the environment in which I would be wearing her. I'm not the smartest sometimes, so I don't know if it would have actually made a difference, but hey, that's an example of why you should consider where you are going to wear a particular cosplay. In case it wasn't obvious, my personal opinion is that if you can, and not everyone can, not everyone has the time, the resources, the skill, or the desire, and it does not make you less of a cosplayer to buy your cosplays. It doesn't. I mean, most of mine are bought. I think I'll flash up the numbers of how many I have made versus how many I have bought. I mean, even though most of the bought ones have been modified in some way, still, it's a bought cosplay. Whether you modify it or not, you bought it. You didn't make the whole thing from scratch. So like, again, don't think I am preaching that, oh, you should make all your own cosplays. Because no, you don't have to. You absolutely do not have to. However, it really does feel good to put your passion for a character into making that character's look and then putting it on your body and going, this is me being this character. You get the same feeling or a very similar one when you buy something, because you've still got to style your wig, do your makeup, actually wear it, and then, you know, go out in it. So I'm not diminishing the benefits of buying a cosplay. It's just that I think that making your own, especially your first one, is a little extra something, you know? You don't have to, totally not compulsory, but even if it's not your first, I really think everyone should try making or modifying at least one cosplay. As like a little bonus point, I did speak to my husband James about this topic. Actually, this topic was his suggestion that I actually do a video on this. And one thing he did suggest as well is to make sure that, if you can, work with a good photographer on your first cosplay. Get some memories to look back on it. Like, I'll be realistic, your first cosplay is probably not going to be your best cosplay. It's probably going to be one of your worst cosplays. Might not be, but that's just kind of how the thing goes. The more you do something, the better you are at it. But your first cosplay, well, it's your first. It's special. Like, I'm really happy that I did get great photos with James as the photographer of my rose quartz, especially because she was ruined. Because, you know, she was my first cosplay. I'm still pretty fond of her just for that reason. Even though I don't really care about the character anymore, I still care about that experience that I had. Just to put those sort of theories into practice for you as a bit of an example, I'm just gonna imagine I haven't cosplayed before and sort of go through that process of who I would pick. So, oh my gosh, what do I love? I love so many things, and I'm not going to include things I've already cosplayed. Okay, so I love Sailor Moon. I love Futurama. Pretty big into the Good Omens at the moment. Oh, I love the Flower Fairies. Do you remember those? Like the cute little illustrations with the poems? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Anyway, I've always loved them. I have enjoyed seeing a lot of the Mario redesigns by various people on, what's that place called? Instagram. where they're like magical girls or witches and with big hats and big skirts and like basically all, like, she's not the one I was thinking of in this example, but like how Hannah Alexander's redesigns. I do like the Disney princesses, even though that is very, very cliche. And I mean, there's probably a million things I am not remembering at the moment, but there are some things. As for what out of those things I would feel the most good in, probably not any of the Flower Fairies, because they're all sort of child designs, and I just, as a plus size girl, I don't feel comfortable when you're meant to be little, and I'm not little. Good Omens is definitely a yes. I mean, of course I'd have to be Aziraphale, because of course, and I'd have to find myself a Crowley. The redesigns, the sort of fan-arty ones, Probably not. They're all a little too corset-y lingerie most of the time. Disney princesses, yeah, I don't be comfortable in any of those. I mean, except for Jasmine, but I wouldn't anyway because I am so white. I'm blending in with this pink wall for frick. Anyway, wouldn't do any of those. Now I don't remember what the other things are that I listed. I'm into Star Wars, but I'm just not really that excited for them at the moment. Sailor Moon, again, that's sort of a bit of a size thing. I'd probably do actually, I'd do like their actual school uniforms. I'd feel pretty cute and pretty good in those actually. So that's something to consider. Oh, and there's an episode in the anime where Sailor Venus has like an idol outfit. Alright, that's a thought. So let's sort of narrow that down a bit. Let's say I could do a zero fail. I could do Sailor Moon in her school uniform, or I could do Sailor Venus in that idol uniform. Okay, yeah, those are sort of 3 options. Because I'm me, and I'm not really an eventy person, these would all be for photo shoots, for YouTube videos, or for like going to an event like Icon Photo Fest, even though I just said I don't do events, but I don't do conventions. I don't like them very much. So, realistically, that doesn't pose any limitations on which of these cosplays I could or should do. Though I gotta say, just because of the places I do have to shoot at, out of the 3, a zero fail might be the most, not accurate, accurate's not the word. I might have the most appropriate photo shoot locations for him, and a gender bent version, obviously. Well, they have no gender, whatever, than the other 2. Alright, so that's something to consider. Alright, we're getting there. And then last of all is, you know, am I gonna make it, buy it, what's the best option? So I know for a fact, Sailor Moon school uniform, I can buy that online, it's pretty cheap. I need to buy the wig as well, but that's, you know, can easily do that for under $100, that's no problem at all. The Sailor Venus idol outfit would have to be handmade. You know, you can't buy that one. And it's a bit fitted bodicey, and I'm not very good at fitted bodices. And then a zero fail, well, the great thing about that is you can basically do anything. Like, there's so much fan work out there, and given that him and Crowley have existed forever, it's like basically as long as I have a Crowley and I stick within the color scheme, I'm good. So yeah. That narrows my choices down to 2. And I'm going to stop the thought experiment there because that's all that was. That was just a quick example for you using what I'm into and my own personal considerations as to how you might use these tips to narrow down what you want to cosplay first. And it's terrible because I'm like, I need to find a tall skinny girl to be my Crowley. Because I'm kind of into that idea now. And yes, doing Sailor Moon in her school uniform has actually been on my to cosplay list for quite a while, so you might end up seeing both of those eventually. You might even see the idol costume. Who knows? I'm not going to make promises about what I'm going to cosplay. And anyway, me cosplaying is not the point of this video. The point of this video is you figuring out what you should cosplay first. I hope these tips were helpful. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye bye! And P.S. if you do actually choose your first cosplay using these tips and this sequence, please send me a link. Show me your cosplays. Show me.